Check, check. Alright, before we play today, we are gonna do the patch analysis that you all wanted me to do, so let's talk about it. So, first of all, this is patch 3.9.0. It came out 19th of April, which was yesterday. Something called the codex came out, and since my patch analysis never involves avatars and stuff like that, I'm going to completely skip this. But long story short, I'll show you it for just 1 minute. I'll show you really fast, but I won't talk too much about it. You can just check this out yourself. Yeah, blah blah blah. You can buy points for gold coins basically. Then you can see the complete schedule here of competitive matches. You can bet on teams. Bet on Sync and you'll be rich. And then you have the winners bracket and stuff here for the NAE wildcard. So the upcoming tournament matches for qualifying to Thailand, like team number 2. So bet history, brackets, and then we have teams. Then you have pictures here of everyone, but as you can see, the pictures have really bad quality, and I'm not impressed by this at all. If I'm not mistaken, it was Safiris who made it, and if it was you, you suck. As you can see here, I'm blurry as fuck, Mick is blurry as fuck. Hackstern is that picture is fine, but what you got looks like his face is blown up, and Probus looks like he's literally smoked 50 joints in a row. So I'm personally not a fan of the picture. Yeah, well, look at Denver's. I don't even know. Anyway, so yeah, you can see all the teams here that are going to be qualifying and stuff, and then us here, and yeah. Okay. It was not me. You said it was going to be you when you were at my place. Yeah, the pictures are really bad. And then there's going to be a new site, tournament info, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, no, all in all, very good. I like it. A little bit too late, but, well, it's not late. Better late than never, but I feel like it should have been implemented before. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Here is what we are going to talk about. So, balance. As always, I don't talk about hero reworks, but I have watched the Spotlight, and the hero looks incredibly strong. I would even say borderline broken or overpowered. The spores seem insane. Like, one thing that I said is you place a spore for your mid-hero in the trees, he harasses, he walks back, he heals full HP, goes harass again. Just one of the many things. Anyway, so skip him, and here we go. So, I do not understand why Aluna got a buff. I think Aluna is one of the strongest supports and have been for quite some time, and having 160 damage nuke at level 1 is kind of fucking insane. So, to me, this buff doesn't make any sense at all, but I love Aluna, always have, still pick her. I mean, from my point of view, it's not a bad change for my team, but I just don't see why you would buff Aluna. There's just no reason to. Then we got Shipper. I really like this change. It's very interesting. The rockets are now 1, 2, 3, 4 instead. Damage rescaled and mana cost rescaled as well. So technically it costs a little bit more mana, as you can see, but it's not really that big of a difference. And the charge refresh is also from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. So I personally think this change is very good, and I'm going to look forward to see how how interesting it will actually be in the game. The one downside, obviously, being that mana battery is even better against Shipper now, because the rockets deal less damage, they can get shot more often, and it's overall more rockets in general. So you changed Shipper, kind of buffed him in a way where he can last hit with creeps a lot more because of the rockets being available more. But you also nerfed him towards power supply. Then we have Chronos. Percentage to proc change increased from 6.9 to 18% of max, so that's obviously a huge buff. And then he gets maximum movement speed, 100% slow resistance while inside a Chrono field. So basically it's Dota's change to Void, and he's just hasted and runs around like a crazy person inside the Void. Totally fine change. I don't mind that at all. I like it. Drunken Master got a tiny buff. I don't have a problem with that either. I just, once again, don't really see why we would need to buff Drunken, same way as Aluna. It's a good hero. It gets picked every now and then. I guess Aluna gets picked more than him. But, like, also a hero that sync plays, so good for my team. But yeah, no, it's a fine change. It doesn't break the hero or anything like that. Neither does the Aluna change, but it's just, like, small buffs. I like buffs. I like patch buffs, but why the 2 heroes that are already very good? Silencing shot, Flemish person skin reduce from okay. Am I seeing things, or is Emerald Warden getting nerfed? Am I seeing things? Why would you nerf Emerald Warden? What the fuck? %52 win. Alright, skip. No idea. Flux, base armor increase from 294 to 4, strength gain per level increase from 2.7 to 3.0. So, increasing his overall tankiness early game, which I also think is a mistake, because Flux has always been an incredible laner, like insanely good laner. Good last hitter, good 1v1er, even good in dual lanes, but the problem with the hero is that he's not good enough overall besides the laning phase. That's the problem with the hero. So buffing his laning phase even more is not going to help him. It's actually going to make him incredibly hard to beat in a 1v1, and that's just going to be frustrating, so I disagree. Also, something to point out is that Artesia was not nerfed in this patch, even though it's the most broken hero in the game and has been since she got buffed. So, not sure what's wrong with that, but it should have happened already. The image spawn is now invulnerable and unselectable. Thank God. I don't know how many times I have mistakenly, like, pyro-ulted and used other things when the hero and the illusion is on top of each other. So, thank you. I guess you can still stun it, right? Or is it still invulnerable against everything? In either case, I like that you can't select it, because that was fucking frustrating, dude. Frustrating. Gemini, a small buff to the amount of strength recreation decreased. Oh yeah, so that's basically the old Gemini. That's fine. Can now activate items that do not interrupt your current orders while face-off is active. Oh, so you can activate Instantaneous Shrunken while you're ulting. Okay, fine change. Now has a staff and a master fight sponsor animated trees in each enemy hero. Keeper is literally PK resto, then you win the game, so this is not going to make a difference. Target damage reduction reduced from 50% to 40%. Can now manually cancel status smash on itself. A very good buff, a nice buff actually, and I think Kinesis is fine and doesn't need a buff either. Same thing as Luna and Drunken, but I don't mind this change at all. It seems like they're trying to increase the power level of certain heroes by a tiny margin. And Kraken ulti, mega buff. Well, mega buff, 10 seconds plus the damage per second. Interesting. Another hero that I think is perfectly fine and doesn't need a buff. Magebane finally got a nerf in his flash. Sure, will overall lower his farm because he can blink 1 second later. That's fine. Don't think it'll have a... I still think the hero will be picked as much as it is, but at least a nerf. Damage increase from 6. Whoa. 550 maximum damage? Holy shit. Okay. Mana cost on Midas and QW increased on both abilities. That's good. Mana cost increased from 110 to 50. Performance longer share. Someone still better than this one scale. Good changes. That's a good way to nerf Midas, the mana cost, because he obviously uses spells all the time, spams them over and over, post haste around the map, spams waves, etc., etc. And yeah, no, that's a fine change. I have no problems with that. Another one that I'm like, okay, so Ophelia. Why in God's world would you ever buff this hero? It's permanently banned or permanently picked in every good team in this game. And you buff it. Like, why? I don't understand why, and I completely disagree with this one as well. But, hey, it's one of my best, well, it is my best hero, so I mean, I don't mind. On a selfish perspective, I don't mind at all. Fulcrum shift, max damage increase from 8% max mana to 10% max mana and 105. Alright, a small buff to Paralyze that's good because Paralyze got quite overly nerfed and that's why I haven't been playing the hero at all, so I like it. I like the change. Protective Melody, mana cost increased on Rhapsody. Don't think that's going to make a difference at all. A very tiny nerf. This, however, is a big buff. 10% is a big buff. And I'm very interested to see if this actually brings out some Shadowblade picks. I don't like the hero myself, so I'm probably not going to pick it. But I said the same about Sulfuras, didn't I? Yep, okay. Damage on Q to 300. That's actually very big, because for those of you who weren't aware, the only way you could kill an entire creep wave with Soul Reaper was by having max level W and queuing twice. Now, you can just queue twice and you'll get the creep wave. So this is actually a huge buff, and might actually make Soul Reaper a viable pick, because one of the problems with him is that he couldn't clear out waves very fast, And the reason for that was that there was always 1 HP left, and then the creep wave stole the creeps. This is gonna remove a lot of that. So interesting. Might actually, that small tiny buff might actually be the difference maker of picking a Soul Reaper or not. What the fuck? Okay. Stun is now max radius at all levels. I don't know why they would do that. Then, so you can basically never miss a stun on Tord anymore. Agonizing Bonds was also increased. That's fine because everyone skills Impalement on Support Torture, and that's really what you play, Support Torture. So buffing the E to try and give that more viability is a fine thing in my mind. This I told the balance call 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna take credit for that change. You're very much welcome, game. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was my idea, but I said that the reason Tremble is broken is mostly because Boris can get double spawned, and he can kill it. Like, you can instantly spawn a new one after you lose the first one, or you can kill it while it's being damaged and the enemy team doesn't get any gold. So this is a perfect nerf. Bear Walls on a boob with no longer share damage with Wild Soul in bear form. This seems very major. I'm gonna play more Wild Soul and figure out exactly how much difference it makes, but it is very major, so we should keep an eye out on this. Now, this is one of the more interesting buffs in this patch, and it's insanely strong. This is the old haunt, like the old haunt, and it's so good. 7 seconds cooldown at max level, 500 range at max level, 50, 75, 100, 125 at max level. Like, this is a very, very big buff to haunt. And the old hag that destroyed every melee hero in the game, short lane, might come back from this. They also made what? 1250 at all levels? What is Mage Pain's blink? $11.50. So Hag gets a longer blink than a Mage Pain at every level. Holy fuck. How would you skill Hag now? You still have to consider that the cooldown on her flash is very, very long. Very long. So I still think you need to max out Flash along with Sonar Scream. But if you're in a 1v1 top, 2 or 3 points in Haunt, I'm not sure. I'm going to be playing Hag, that's for sure. They also almost implemented the Dota's Wretched Hag as Staff of the Master, but in Dota it's 40 seconds, not 60 seconds. So, interesting. Energize your bonus movement speed now tapers from 75 to 25 instead of 75 to 0. Mana burn per auto attack increase from 24 to 26. Magic damage from the proc from 100 to 120. 7 gold 600. Cooldown for proc and the true target effect removed. What? So, Savage Mace is back to normal? Or you still get, if you miss, you get True Strike? Is that still the way it works? So, if I understand, I haven't bought Savage Mace since the nerf. I didn't even know there was a cooldown. So if you missed, you got 3 auto attacks in a row, and then you got a 6.5 second cooldown on it? That's retarded. Okay. Almost normal. Yeah, exactly. Almost normal. Okay. You just missed 1 auto attack then. You miss an attack, it's True Strike for 3 attacks, and then you can miss 1 and get True Strike again. Okay. 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 Disarm stand enemies can no longer be dispelled. Thank you! Now Spike Bowl is a viable item. For now you can use it before Shrunken, they can Shrunken, they're still disarmed. It should still be applied on Shrunken headed targets as well though. Then the item is very, very strong. Now Passel gives True Strike to the wielder, still a shitty item, not even gonna bother reading you. Now spawns an effect upon death displacement counter respawn. This is the clock in the pit. Nothing interesting. Okay, so I guess that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the patch analysis video. I gave my thoughts on all the balance changes of the patch, and I skipped reworks and non-related balance things, just as always. So yeah, let's see how this patch is. I'm gonna play Hag straight away, that's for sure. Let's go.